couldn't go anywhere in the Northeast without certainly knowing this man's name. And I think you couldn't go anywhere when you were at a national event without seeing our good brother, Mike Dennehy from the greater Connecticut area local. We've got Ed Perkowski, going to speak on behalf of our
Good morning. I wore this tie because this one was one of my favorite ties. Every time he saw this, he said he didn't know whether to salute me or say the Pledge of Allegiance. I could stand up here for 30 minutes and tell you all about the accomplishments and accolades of Mike Dennehy, but you could have read that in his obituary. Instead, I'm going to tell you about the Mike Dennehy that I knew for 34 years and what things he loved. First of all, he loved Lorraine, his wife of 33 years. They were the perfect match. You know, when you take your wedding vows and you say you'll stick by somebody and love them through sickness and health, well, that was Mike and Lorraine. He loved his two sons, Michael, 25, and Ryan, 21. He loved his sister, Nancy. He loved his family, his in-laws, his nieces, his nephews, and his cousins. He was extremely proud that two of his cousins were New York City firemen who were at Ground Zero on 9/11. Unfortunately, one of them perished when one of the towers collapsed. He also loved a special group of friends from high school, and they stuck with him right to the end when they laid him in the ground. He was very close to his friends from high school. He also loved the music of the boss, Bruce Springsteen. I can't tell you all the concerts he's ever gone to see Springsteen play. And I guess I could say this now, but Mike loved being a wise ass. One time, he was extremely proud that one time in the early 80s, he was down in Washington, D.C., and he saw Ronald Reagan driving around or walking around, and he flipped him the bird. Well, he asked his sons that they promised to put that in his obituary, but they were overruled, and I said, well, I'll mention this at the National Convention, that he flipped Ronald Reagan the bird. He also loved the sports teams. He loved the New York Mets. Our former local, Bridgeport local, we used to run at least 2 trips every year down to Shea Stadium to watch the Mets play. And one of our members says, hey Mike, why don't we ever go to a Yankee game? Mike quickly answered, you want to go to a Yankee game? Elect a Yankee fan as your local president. He also loved the New York Rangers, and he loved the UConn basketball men's and women's teams. You know, the guys who are reigning NCAA current champions? Those guys. Yay. But if you personally knew Mike, or if you knew him from Facebook, you knew Mike loved the New York Giants. He bled giant blue. 4 years ago, when the Giants moved to the new stadium, Mike and myself were lucky enough to get season tickets. And every time they had a home game, we made the trek an hour and a half from Connecticut all the way down to the Meadowlands. And on that ride down there, we would talk about family, union business, and life itself. When the Giants would win, that hour and a half trip back home seemed like it only took less than an hour. But on occasions when they lost, it was a long, quiet ride home. I remember one time after a devastating loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, I was driving home. Mike looked at me and said, Perk, just drive off the Tappan Zee Bridge. That was one of the few times I didn't listen to him. Mike was my best friend, the brother I never had. I think of him every day. He is missed dearly. And in closing, I want to quote Bruce Springsteen. It's raining, but there isn't a cloud in the sky. Must have been a tear from your eye. Everything will be okay. Funny, I thought I felt a sweet summer breeze. Must have been you sighing so deep. Don't worry, we're going to find a way. And finally, until we meet again,